Hello, my name is James Anderson. I'm the IEP Liaison and Learning Specialist at Arlington High School. And for my students and families, I'd like to share a few words about course rules and policies in order to guarantee your child and all the students in our class the excellent learning climate you deserve. We are utilizing the following discipline plan. I've developed a classroom discipline plan that allows every student the opportunity to manage and control his or her behavior. And this plan will be in effect at all times when students have me as their teacher. What is my philosophy? My philosophy is that every student has the right to an environment that's supportive to learning in our classrooms. Behaviors and actions that keep us from learning will be dealt with and will be given consequences. Some of the most important rules, but this isn't an exhaustive list. I recommend that students and families read the Student Conduct Code for Arlington High School. But for Mr. Anderson in particular, we want to remember to wear proper dress at all times. So that means pants at the waist, not below the waist. There shouldn't be any undergarments showing. There shouldn't be any t-shirts with questionable content or references to alcohol or anything immoral, illicit, or illegal. And if there's any questions about that, come and see me and I can clarify that for you. Secondly, follow directions. So we want to make sure that we are being able to listen to the teacher and being able to do what we need to do for today's learning objective. And I will have an objective every day. Sometimes I'll put it on a chalkboard or a dry erase board or an overhead projector. But if there's any point in time when you don't know what the objective is, ask. And I'll be happy to share the purpose of what we're doing and the purpose for following directions. Number 3, keep hands, feet, objects, and rude comments to yourself. Most students understand this already, but we want to be a safe place for learning. We do not want to be threatened by somebody's lack of ability to control their hands or feet. We shouldn't be throwing things. That includes the garbage can. We place things in the garbage can. We do not throw them. And we want to keep rude comments to ourselves. So we're a team, and we're not here to compete. We're here to collaborate and make each other better learners, better students, better individuals. So for that reason, we want to keep rude comments to ourselves. Negative words, put downs, calling people out of their name will be given consequences. So up front, I'm sharing with you that we want to keep rude comments to ourselves. And the next one is to be prepared each day and bring your books and materials to class. Again, this is something that you've probably heard before. In my case as well, even though some people may say, well, it's a resource class or it's a small group class or it's not a regular class in the traditional sense, you do want to be prepared. You don't want to waste your time looking for pencils. You don't want to waste your time trying to borrow a book that you should have brought. You don't want to waste my time if you're not able to learn effectively without your material. So try and be prepared each day. Okay, next, raise your hand to speak. Okay, so this isn't as much of an issue as it is in your larger classes, but out of etiquette and out of respect for the class, if you have something that's worthwhile to say, I'm asking you to raise your hand before you speak. Which leads to the next rule. Listen quietly while others are speaking. Use appropriate school language. No name calling or teasing. Respect yourself, other classmates, and their belongings. This goes back to being in control of our bodies and being in control of our mouths. but also asking to borrow materials, returning materials after you're done with them, respecting the room, cleaning up after yourself, cleaning up anything that you mess up is all part of respect. Okay, so in order to encourage ourselves to follow the rules, we are going to reinforce appropriate and good behavior. So that's going to look differently depending on the situation, and I'll talk about that more in class. However, if we are struggling with the rules, then I am going to give you a verbal warning the first time I see a rule being broken, and I will remind you again if I see another rule being broken or the same rule being broken a second time. And then after the second time, I will ask you to stay after school with Mr. Anderson. And that is a after school detention that's going to be made within 48 hours of me giving the consequence. And if that still isn't effective, then after the fourth incident or occurrence, I will contact parents and I will contact Mr. Robb, who's the Fusco House Dean. Now, these are 4 levels of warnings that I've just shared. However, if the disruption is severe enough, I will refer you to your house dean immediately. Examples of this: if you're dressing improperly, if you commit or threaten to commit violence towards somebody else, if you're damaging property, whether it's somebody else's or whether it's my property or whether it's property of the schools, and if we struggle to get to work, unless it's an emergency and somebody passed away or if there's a death in the family, we can deal with that. We can talk to guidance counselors, social workers in those situations. However, being able to give everything a try and your best effort is going to get you far, not just in my class, but whatever you want to do in life. Whether you want to get a job, whether you want to go and be successful at the next level of your education, you want to give an effort. Another severe disruption is engaging in behavior that keeps the class from running. Alright? So I won't be more specific, but I think you get the gist. And my final severe disruption that I will discipline is that of displaying dangerous or destructive behavior, including bullying. And you guys already have been presented material about bullying, what it is, what it means, and why it's such a serious issue here at the high school. Now, a lot of you may be thinking, well, this class really doesn't seem democratic. Mr. Anderson doesn't seem very compassionate. And to that I say that I do listen to students, particularly when it comes to class rules and policies. And if you have a question about a policy, or if you have a disagreement about how I'm disciplining you, then I'm happy to share that I meet with student lawyers each Friday at 3 p.m. So if you think that you got a discipline that was unwarranted, if you feel that you were blamed for something that you didn't do, we want to keep that outside of class time. We do not want to argue with the teacher, and we do not want to question how the teacher is handing out rewards and consequences. Doing so will get you nowhere. Alright, so I shared some of the policies and rules that you are to observe when you have Mr. Anderson as your teacher. However, all school rules from the Arlington High School handbook should be read and enforced. I know that you're going to work hard to follow the rules, and we're going to encourage one another in our efforts for self-control. As mentioned earlier, if additional help at home is needed, we will communicate with you by phone or note. And if there's any questions that you have about this discipline policy, please contact me. This is Mr. Anderson, and I know we're going to have a great year.